Whispers in the dark. I'm not sure where to begin, but I need to get this off my chest. What happened to me 3 months ago clings to me like a shadow, creeping into my thoughts when I least expect it. I'm 14, living in a sprawling house in South Africa, a place where the line between ordinary life and danger is razor thin. Crime is woven into the fabric of our days here. Gunshots echo in the distance some nights, so common they barely register. Our house is a fortress. 2 heavy gates, security cameras blinking in red in every corner, motion detectors that hum quietly. We've got a massive metal shutter that seals off the upstairs from the downstairs, a last line of defense for emergencies. Power outages are routine too, thanks to a government that's as unreliable as the electricity. I thought I was used to it all. I was wrong. It was a Saturday evening, the air heavy with the scent of roasted chicken, as my family gathered around the dinner table. My older brother, Liam, was halfway through a story about school when he froze mid-sentence. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his fork hovering over his plate. I shook my head, unbothered. Sounded like something broke outside, on the patio. Like a glass. Maybe a wine bottle. I shrugged it off. Liam's always been the jumpy one, hearing threats in every creak of the house. I finished my meal, said goodnight to my parents as they headed out for their usual gym session, and settled onto the living room couch with my books. Exams were looming, and I needed to cram. The house was quiet, save for the faint hum of the air conditioning. I was deep into my notes when a sharp crash splintered the silence. It came from the patio, just like Liam had said. My heart gave a little jolt, but I told myself it was probably a stray cat knocking over a plant pot. Then Liam burst into the room, his face drained of color. I'd never seen him like that. Eyes wide, jaw tight, like he'd seen a ghost. "What's wrong?" I stammered, my pen slipping from my fingers. He didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed my arm, his grip bruising, and yanked me toward the stairs. "Upstairs, now," he barked, his voice raw with panic. I stumbled after him, my legs shaking so badly I could barely keep up. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded once we reached the second floor. He ignored me, lunging for the shutter controls. The heavy metal door groaned as it began to descend, sealing off the staircase. We only used the shutter in drills or when my parents were paranoid about a string of nearby break-ins. This wasn't a drill. Liam dragged me up another flight to his room on the 3rd floor, which overlooked the garden and patio. He pressed a finger to his lips, his eyes darting to the window. "Look," he whispered, pointing outside. At first, I saw nothing but shadows. The garden was a tangle of dark shapes under the moonlight, the patio barely lit by a flickering security light. Then my eyes adjusted, and my breath caught in my throat. There was a man down there. He was pacing the patio, clutching a jagged piece of glass, what looked like the neck of a broken wine bottle. He was tall, maybe 5'9", with a scruffy beard that hung unevenly from his chin. But it was his face that turned my blood to ice. His eyes were wide, unblinking, and he was smiling, a twisted, gleeful grin that didn't belong on a human face. It was the kind of smile you'd expect from someone who just escaped a nightmare, only to bring it with them. "Who is he?" I started, my voice barely a whisper. Big mistake. The man's head snapped up, his eyes locking onto mine through the window. That grin widened, and I swear my heart stopped. He looked straight into me, like he could see every fear I'd ever buried. Then, he moved. Not fast, but a slow, staggering run, like he was dragging an injury. He was heading for the door to the house. Liam grabbed my hand, pulling me away from the window. We bolted down to my room on the 2nd floor, my legs shaking so badly I could barely keep up. It's okay," he kept muttering, more to himself than to me. He's always been protective, since we were kids, but his voice trembled now. He slammed my bedroom door shut and locked it, his hands fumbling. The shutter was down, I told myself. No one could get through that.
Then, as if the universe was mocking us, the power cut out. The room plunged into darkness, and the faint hum of the security system died. Liam cursed under his breath. The shutter. Without power, it's just a piece of metal. It can be pried open. My stomach dropped. I stumbled to my dresser, yanking open the top drawer to grab the hunting knife I'd gotten for my birthday. It was small but sharp, a gift from my uncle who thought I should know how to protect myself. I clutched it in one hand, my other gripping Liam's so tightly my knuckles ached. Then we heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Like someone was clapping their shoes against the stairs. Each step echoed in the dark, growing louder, closer. My breath hitched, my chest so tight I thought I'd suffocate. The shutter was supposed to stop him. It had to. Then, a new sound cut through the silence, sharp and grating, metal on metal. The shutter was being forced open. The screech of it bending under pressure sent chills down my spine. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying it would hold. Then, the noise stopped. For a moment, I thought we were safe. Maybe he'd given up. Maybe he was gone. But then came a sound I'll never forget. A slow, deliberate scrape, like a knife dragging across my bedroom door. It was methodical, almost playful, as if he was savoring the terror he knew we felt. Liam pulled me toward the cupboard, shoving me inside. "Stay here," he whispered, his voice barely audible. He took the knife from my trembling hand, his own shaking just as badly. I crouched in the dark, the air thick with the smell of old clothes and dust. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure the man could hear it. The scraping continued, relentless, each drag of the blade carving itself into my memory. Seconds stretched into eternity. I kept waiting for the door to burst open, for that grinning face to appear. Liam pressed himself against the cupboard door, holding it shut. "I called 112, he whispered, his voice barely steady. "They're coming." But we both knew the truth. In our town, the police were as likely to be at a fast food joint as on patrol. Help was never quick. The scraping stopped, and for a fleeting moment, I dared to hope. Then I heard it. A low, guttural clutcher from the other side of the door. My blood ran cold. He was toying with us. Suddenly, a new sound broke through. Sirens, faint at first, then growing louder. Blue and red lights flashed through the window, cutting through the darkness. Liam fumbled for the gate remote, his hands shaking as he pressed the button to let the police in. I heard shouts, heavy footsteps, the sound of a struggle. The man's clutcher turned into a scream, raw and unhinged before it was cut off. I stayed in the cupboard, too scared to move, until Liam opened the door and pulled me out. "It's over," he said, his voice hoarse. "They got him."
The police told us the man had escaped from a nearby asylum 3 months ago. He'd been locked up for manslaughter twice before they deemed him too unstable for prison. He'd been wandering the streets, slipping through the cracks of a broken system. They found the broken wine bottle on the patio along with a rusted knife he'd used to pry at the shutter. The police said we were lucky. If Liam hadn't heard the first crash, if he hadn't acted so quickly, I don't know what would have happened. That night changed me. I don't feel safe in my own house anymore, no matter how many cameras or gates we have. I keep the hunting knife under my pillow now, and I check the locks 3 times before bed. Liam doesn't talk about it, but I see the way he flinches at sudden noises, the way his eyes dart to the windows at night. We're both haunted, not just by what happened, but by what could have been. Sometimes when I'm alone in my room, I swear I hear it again. That slow, deliberate scrape of a knife against my door. It's just my imagination, I tell myself, just a trick of the mind. But I still check the cupboard before I go to sleep.